And thank you for joining us today. Apologies for starting late, and although we have the time is almost out, but I have joined to share with you guys today's course line, and from next week we're still gonna do a deep dive into the Dynamics 365 sales. My name is Aditayo, and I'll be your trainer for today. Okay, so today I know last week you were with my colleague Funsho, and you guys have gone through the fundamentals of Dynamics, and we've gone through the UI and the navigation all through the application. So today, well, without wasting much time, we're just gonna go straight into the fundamentals of Dynamics 365 sales. Okay, like we mentioned last week, we have each of these modules. We have the sales modules, we have the customer service module, and also we have field service, project service automation, now the project operations, right? And but in the course of this outline for MB-910, we're just going to be, we also have marketing, which was also going to touch in this training part as well. But today we're just going to focus on Dynamics 365 sales. Okay, so on in here we have the agenda for the training, which is to explore the Dynamics 365 sales model itself. Then we're also going to leverage the sales capabilities as well. Okay, so this is the outline and what we expected to learn. We should be able to describe how to use the Dynamics 365 sales to support our sales process. All right. Also examine how to work with leads and also describe the opportunity with opportunity management. All right. Also describe codes, the order, the invoice management. Majority of us will be familiar with the sales process. You know, it's just very similar to the conventional sales processes, like you order for something or you wish to buy something, then you go to a shop, you order for it, then they ask you, you guys negotiate prices, you agree to pay that amount, they give you the invoice, you pay, and they deliver the goods. So basically, this is what the sales business process flow is all about. So there are some quick terminologies that we're just going to look here. I know you guys are going to be already, you're going to be familiar with these terminologies already. The first one is the account. This represents the business operations or the business organization you're dealing with, right? Usually like a customer or a vendor, in terms of different groupings, right? And each of these each of these companies, they usually have contact that you're going to be dealing with, right? You have representative of these complaints, which are the contact. They are the ones that you're going to be dealing with. You're going the one that you'll probably be selling to, and they'll be giving you information about the company. Also, we have the activities, right? The activities might represent the phone calls that you've made, maybe in terms of negotiation. You guys had a phone call with the company, or maybe emails back and forth, negotiating price, or giving them a range of products that they can get from you as well. All right. We also have the contact, right? Like I mentioned earlier, it represents a single individual. The contact will often have many related records, definitely relating to an account or relating to an activity, either a phone call or say an email or other activity or a tax actually. And now a customer can also either be an account or a contact. So on the leads form or most of the entity forms, you can also have the customer field here. So indirectly here, usually a lookup field, right? You're looking up to these entities, either the account entity or the contact entity. So whichever you're dealing with in terms of a business scenario now. So that's what we have as customer. The next one is the lead. The lead represents somebody that is actually interested in what you're offering. All right. If you're selling a product, say you're selling a biscuit, and somebody comes and shows interest in that, so that person is a lead, which is a potential buyer. All right. So the lead might actually lead to an existing client or somebody that you have done business with before. All right. So if somebody makes sales with you today, by the time you're marketing another product tomorrow, that person that is, if the products are probably related or in the same family or in the same product family, that person would also be a potential buyer, because it's just like somebody buying a television. All right. And you also sell a DSTV. If the person comes and buys a television today, by the time you're doing a promo or an advertisement for DSTV products next week, the person that bought the television last week will also be a potential buyer. So in this kind of thing, that person is a potential buyer for me, which makes the person a lead here. Now, the opportunity, like the lead, it's also a potential sales transaction, right? But an opportunity is a step higher than the lead. Now, the lead I said earlier is somebody that is interested in what you're trying to buy. But an opportunity, it is a more viable prospect than the lead. It will contain more information and be tracked for a longer period of time. Now, opportunity makes that if a lead has a let's say a probability of buying your product at 40%, an opportunity will have that a probability of buying your product at probably 70 to 80%. Now, that is somebody that is probably maybe been to your shop or to your warehouse to have a look, not just somebody that you think might want to buy, but somebody that probably has shown interest in what you're selling before, has probably been to your shop to see the warehouse or to see the kind of designs that you have. So these are the terminologies that we have. It. The next one is the product catalog, right? I think we all will be familiar with it. We see this a lot in the WhatsApp pages and some people business account. You see their catalog and they show you the list of products that they have. All right. So a collection of records that interact with opportunities, codes, orders, invoices to facilitate the management of products. And they usually include the price list, the discount that we have on some products, and product families, and let's say products that can be matched together for the sales transaction. So this product catalog contains all of these items as well. The next one is a quote. A quote is just a formal offer of for your product or services, which is proposed at a specific order, right? So we set up how the flow gets. We're going to get it in the course of the training. Just like we're following this list of items. Now, from how we've shown interest in the product, now we start listing out the items that we really want to buy. Okay, so we can say, I want a chair, I want a table, I want a rating table. So I list it out and I put the prices in front of them. The list of this kind of document is called like a quote, a formal offer for that particular, and this is how much I'm going to sell it out to you. Then the order is the confirmed request for the delivery of this. Finally, when you issue out the code to the customer and they look at it, they look at the pricing and they're like, oh, fine, this is within our range. We can go through with this transaction. So they go through with that transaction and they send it back to you and like, okay, fine, we're confirmed, we're good with this code that you've sent, approved, and you can go ahead and issue us an invoice. Now you come back with that order and you write it an invoice, that this goods and product has been purchased. Okay, so that's the level and that is the process flow for how a transaction actually occurs. Like I said earlier, it's very, very similar to what we experience in our everyday life. Okay, now the next one is the sales pipeline, right? It's just a snapshot of where prospects are in the sales process. All right, we usually have every of these interaction with a customer would actually be at a sales pipeline point at every point in time. If I'm dealing with a particular customer, maybe where we are right now is at a point of where I'm sending she's still reviewing my order. All right, a typical pipeline will show how many deals the salesperson are expected to close in a week, in a year, and how close a rep to is reaching its sales quota. For those of us that are really familiar with how sales automation is done, right? We have sales representatives, and they usually have their a quota, their target, and they say in this 1 month, I want you to come with the sales of 2 million naira. Let's say, for example, and at every point in time, as you're making out leads and you're generating orders and the invoices, there is an automatic calculation of your what of your target against what has been delivered, right? So let's say at the month at the day 21st, right? You already made a sales of like 1.8, right? So you have the delivered against what target, right? So at every point in time, you can always review what the level at which your sales transaction is actually going. The last one on this our list here is the competitors, right? Competitors are organizations that are competing with you to win deals, right? So each of these guys also are probably like competing with you with that same lead that you have, right? And each of them are going to do what? They are going to be releasing out promos and a lot of discounts. They'll be competing with your own goods. Now, if you lose a particular deal, it is also good because we're going to get to the point where we're going to show you where we say, was a deal won or lost? Now, if it was lost, you're going to put a remark there. Okay, who won it? Was this competitor? And okay, fine. You have to review the product, how did they win it? Was it that they gave maybe a larger discount, or was it that the customer preferred it based on some things? Then that will help you when you're dealing with another type of product, especially that particular company. Now you know their preference and how it is done. So that's about that. So a typical sales process goes thus, right? Like I mentioned earlier, you can see here we have our leads, which is when the person is still is a prospect. The person has the intuition to buy, likes the product. Now it takes a step to what? To the opportunity. Then from there, once the opportunity is sealed and it is moved to the next stage, what do? You have a quote whereby you send a list of the product with the price items. You can give them some discount based on region, based on say whatever criteria you're using to give out your discount, right? From there, you go to what? To the order. The customer confirms your quote and be like, oh, we're fine with the discount, we're good, and just bring out the product. So it moves to the order, and once that is done, you do what? You issue an invoice, you deliver your goods. Basically, the image below shows an example of a sales life cycle might look like from the beginning to the end. Like we said, the first one is here you identify the lead. All right, once the lead is identified, you can now start, calling the customer. Hi, just like I think we all get these calls from some of our banks when they are running some promos, and they will like, okay, fine, we think this person is actually eligible to have this, and let's put a call through it, or they send you an email, or you send a broadcast, and like, okay, are you interested in this product? Once you show interest, you have passed the stage of what? That is the lady's what is qualified, right? You move to the next stage, it becomes an opportunity. Maybe your account manager calls you and be like, okay, fine. We noticed that you showed interest in this. How do you move you to the next level? And we'll go to the next level. At the point of opportunity, this is the point. This is one of the things you need to actually, this is one of the common questions in MB-910, right? At what point is an account or a contact created? This is when it is the point of opportunity. That is when it is you're going to have to link it to either an existing account or create a new account for it. You have to link into an existing contact or a new contact. Once this is created, and that's because these fields are on this form, the opportunity form now. Okay. Now the next one is for quote. After the opportunity is won, right, it moves to what a code is generated. So in this code, you have to add what? You have to add the price list items, right? You have to add the product items to that particular code, which is going to contain the pricing information, right? Which is probably going to be like 1,000 naira, 5,000 naira. At the end of adding all the products, you can apply discount to it, right? 10%, 20%, and all of that. And if customer is fine with that, what do? You go to the extent of code acceptance, right? You accept the code, you generate the order, and what? Invoice is created. Now, if you look at this area here where you have the qualification stage, this is what you have. You guys need to be very, very vast with this process. The qualify stage, the develop stage, the proposal stage, the closure stage, and the fulfillment stage. Here we're having a lot of people in this area of qualify, because we've sent out a broadcast to a lot of people, but a few are going to what? Are going to respond. And those ones are the ones that we need to focus our attention on. Those are the ones that we need to develop. And this is why we have the development stage here. And if you look at it, the development stage is actually the stage that takes more time. It takes a longer time than other stages, because why? This is time the customer is going to make the decision. He's going to reach out to his stakeholders. He's going to compare bids from other competitors. He's going to, the normal sales operations, and that's how it works. And the next one is the proposal stage, which is when you're what? You're giving out, you're issuing out a code, and customer is confirming the code. And the next one is the closure. When customers, there is a very good illustration here, the handshake. That's an agreement, right? Between the two parties, right? Once it's agreed, then the last stage is when you actually fulfill the delivery of this particular product. Okay. So now let's go to the next slide. Describe how to work with leads. Okay. Now the goal of it is to determine the viability of them becoming the customer. Like I said earlier, the lead is just a potential buyer, not yet a buyer. Okay, this process is referred to as lead qualification. All right, those a lot like the popular saying, like a lot of people have chosen, right? In this stage, we have a lot of people that we've actually reached out to, but few are going to be qualified to the next stage, right? And Dynamics 365 says provide key pieces of information available that can be used to assist sellers during this qualification process. And what do we have here? if you look at this illustration here, we have the this is a common timeline feature, a common lead form, right? If you look at this side, this is how I can know it is a lead form. Here, this is the entity. The entity on this form, this is lead, and here is the form name. It's the lead form name. Okay, and over here, this area is what you refer to as a business process flow. What is a business process flow? It's just the stages that you have to go through, from start to the end. All right, how am I going to run from start to the end of a particular action? I start from a particular action, then I complete it in another action, in another area, and that is how it works. The first one is what is the qualified stage, like we mentioned earlier, and that is when we are we're qualifying our leads. So this is the lead form, and you expect to have some of the information about the lead guy that you're going to be working with, right? We have the topic. The topic might be expanding our store, or the topic might be bidding for a real estate, a project, and you have the first name of that person and the last name, the job title, right? And what the business phone of the person as well, then the email. Then this area is the timeline. This area contains where you have the communication between the guys. This is where you see all your emails, your phone calls, your tags, your notes. This is where you have all of this information. All right. On the other side is just an assistant that tells you, it tries to book things ahead of you, like tells you what needs to be done at some point in time. Okay. So these items are just the timelines, the assistant, the stakeholders, the relevant stakeholders. And this is very important, right? If you're trying to get a project, you need to identify those that you need to speak to, those that really have mouth in this project, and those are the ones you need to really work with. Okay. Then you need to identify your competitors too. If you're going to provide a product today, you need to understand those that are also bidding for the same project. All right. So you can know if it's going to be if you have to go higher or make something really, really standardized, right? For you to compete, then you have to do it. So after the seller completes this process, the output of this process is just two. Is either one of two. Is either it is qualified or it is disqualified. It is qualified, it goes to the next stage, which is the opportunity stage. If it's disqualified, then it's deactivated. Then we know that this person, though a potential buyer, but we lost that particular person. And that is how it works. Okay, so the next one talks about how to work with leads and how to start. You have to touch research on the lead, get what the person likes or the taste of the person, or if it's going to be a company, look at their ethics, their work culture. What do they really want to spend? Some companies would spend no matter how much you give to them, so far it's part of in line with their work ethics, right? Or their objectives, they would spend all. They don't really care about the amount you give to them. So you need to really research about how this thing works, and before you can put out your code to the next to that particular company. I understand our time is fast spent, and we really sincerely apologize to you guys that we're actually starting late today. We're gonna take a pause here today, and by next week I'm gonna run you guys through Dynamics 365 sales and customer service together. All right, I'll be able to take you through, but I want you guys to go over these topics that we've mentioned: the business process flow, in the sales business process flow, the flow of operation. If you're familiar with it, no matter how much you can customize, now out of the box you can have these 5 stages like that, but by the time you start implementing, they can be more than that. Customers might want to put some stages in between those timelines, in between those structures, just to stretch it a little bit. They can break one out of the box into like 3 or 4 stages, and that is fine. It's still reaching up to the same goal. It's just a process. Just what you need to know is it goes from stage A to the last stage, right? Stage A to the last stage, and after this is completed, and that is when what we can have a successful business process flow. All right. So thank you guys for joining today. We're going to take a pause here now, and we will continue again from next week with the other parts of Dynamics 365 sales. We'll be doing some hands-on work, and from there we will start the Dynamics 365 for customer service as well. Great meeting you guys. Have a lovely day. Bye bye.